let's cover more on how to get accepted by wholesale suppliers, okay? So one of the potential reasons that wholesale suppliers might not want to work with you is that they realize that you sell on Amazon and they also themselves sell on Amazon and they don't want to add competition to the marketplace and their specific listings, okay? Now, this is not that typical, but it does happen from time to time. Most suppliers, however, will not be selling products that they sell wholesale on Amazon or any other retail website, but some of them will, okay? It does happen from time to time. I know one of the ones that I use in the this module as like an example is EE Distribution, and some of their listings, not all, they also do sell on Amazon themselves, right? So keep that in mind. It could be that that's one of the reasons. Now, four major concerns that all wholesale suppliers have about potential retailers that they're doing business with, meaning you, is they'll be hard to communicate with. So they're worried you're going to be, only communicating via email and only communicating every couple of days. So it'll be hard to communicate with you. That's a potential concern. They also worry that you won't stick around and you won't keep reordering long term. Okay. They also worry that you're only going to place smaller orders, and they're personally looking for big fish that are going to order big quantities and order consistently. Okay. They're also worried that you won't follow MAP pricing, which is something that we've already covered in the last lecture, but to refresh your memory, it's minimum advertised price, okay? And basically what that is the lowest that you're supposed to list your prices at, okay? Now, sometimes people in this specific aspect, if they're on a listing and, the price is lower and it's no longer profitable, they'll drop it below the MAP pricing. Okay. But you have to remember, if you buy it from a wholesale supplier who has MAP pricing, you're not allowed to drop it lower than that. Otherwise, if they catch you, they'll get in trouble from their brand, right? And then you risk potentially losing your account with them if they catch on to it. Okay. So instead of figuring out like, okay, these are the concerns and avoiding them, right? Instead, preemptively handle them in your communication with them, right? You can, when you're sending out emails to suppliers, obviously still, like I said in the last lecture, you want to keep it as short as possible, but instead ask yourself how you can preemptively quell these concerns that wholesale suppliers have, and how you can basically preemptively handle them to show that you will not be, or their concerns with you on these specific things aren't warranted, right? And then you'll stand a much better chance of getting accepted. For example, mention that you understand what MAP pricing is, right? And if you need a refresher on how to actually do that, go back and watch the last lecture. I give you an entire breakdown of like 30 minutes of how to write, professional looking emails that will get accepted and get you accepted to wholesale suppliers, right? Also make it seem like you're going to potentially order more inventory in the future, right? That you're a potential big fish. Also make it seem like you're looking for long-term relationships and you're looking for a supplier to build a long-term relationship with, and you're looking for products that you can consistently source long-term. An easy way to do that might be mentioning something like you're looking for replenishables, right? Another one that you'll be hard to communicate with. Maybe put your phone number at the bottom of the email and tell them to call you if they have any questions, right? Or maybe even say something like, when can you hop on a call with them to discuss, how to sign up for an account or any paperwork that they might need you to take care of, right? Anything like this, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, but these are the four most major concerns that all wholesale suppliers have outside of people potentially selling on Amazon, okay? And the reason being is they're used to dealing with a lot of different people, and the majority of people that they're dealing with that are bombarding them with emails and phone calls are people that aren't necessarily that professional and aren't that serious of Amazon sellers. They're looking for serious sellers, not just on Amazon, serious business owners and serious sellers in general, and you need to convey that with your message, and an easy way to do that is by quelling these major concerns that they might have ahead of time, all right? Now, some things to keep in mind when you're applying to wholesale suppliers is that relationships matter a lot more than you think, okay? Remember, you're not dealing with a business, you're dealing with a person on the other end, okay? So talk to them nicely, treat them with respect, and try to come off like very friendly and approachable, almost like they're, your long lost friend, right? Or somebody that you went to high school with, and you're not saying these things, right? Like this is, implied, but you want to come off like you've known them for a long time, or like you're very friendly, right? And you want to come off approachable, because people do business with other people that they know, like, and trust, okay? On top of that, you also want to keep in mind that if possible, you want to avoid mentioning Amazon until you get accepted. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling wholesale on Amazon. Obviously, it's a business model that I believe last time I checked, about 25% of third-party sellers on Amazon were expected to be wholesale sellers, right? But mentioning it could make them reassess if you're just looking. That's supposed to say reassess, not reasses. It's going to make them reassess if you're just looking to use them to find profitable products, right? Because they're not looking to just be a supplier to you of profitable products when it fits you, right? They want to build a long-term relationship with you and supply you for the long haul because obviously that benefits them, right? So instead, try to communicate the message that you're looking for another supplier you can spend a few $1,000s a month with profitably, or, even if you don't do that initially, or even if that's not your plan, you want to come off with that kind of message, right? And if they ask you like what your initial purchase is going to be, you can say something like, you plan to place like a test buy with like smaller quantity, but if it's a good fit and if, you test the market and you see positive feedback, you plan to order a lot more in the future. You want to come off like you're building a long-term relationship with them as well. And that's what you want. And you're looking for replenishable things and you're going to continue to come back and order from them bigger quantities in the future. Okay. Now, if they do ask where you sell, you can obviously let them know that you sell on Amazon. That's totally fine. But you don't want to come off like you just sell on Amazon, right? So you want to basically say that, yeah, you sell on Amazon, but you're not an Amazon seller, right? It's a major distinction to make, and it's super, super simple to say, right? Because you want to convey the message that you're an e-commerce business owner, right? That also happens to sell on Amazon, simply because it provides you with another distribution network to, sell to your customers. Not that you're simply just looking to buy their wholesale products to flip on Amazon, right? It's a subtle distinction, but it makes a major impact on the way they perceive you, okay? So instead, you want to kind of convey the message that you're an e-commerce business owner who also happens to sell on Amazon, not that you're an Amazon seller, okay? And you do not want to convey the message, that's supposed to say convey, a lot of spelling mistakes here. You do not want to convey the message that you're simply using them to buy profitable products to flip on Amazon when it's convenient for you, right? All this stuff should be, you should already pretty much understand all this stuff, but I think it's important to hit it home because I want you to be perceived by the wholesale suppliers that you're applying to, positively. It's going to give you the best chance to get accepted when you apply. Now, when you're communicating with suppliers, here's some do's and don'ts. So a few of each. Do demonstrate your value by showing your potential to be a big fish that might eventually purchase a lot more products from them and continue purchasing long term. Also, do understand that it's okay to purchase in smaller quantities. You don't have to assume like, oh, you have to come off like a big fish so you can only purchase ridiculously high quantities. No, it's okay to purchase in smaller quantities. I still do this myself, right? But convey the message if that's what you're doing. Convey the message that you're simply testing the market on a certain product or you're seeing if it's a good fit, and you're not just starting your business. Like, you don't want to come off that you're just starting your business and you only have a little bit of money and that's why you're purchasing in smaller quantities, right? Instead, you want to come off with like, hey, you're just testing the market on this, or hey, you're just testing to see if this wholesale supplier and the way that they do business is a good fit. And then you'll potentially reassess if you want to order more in the future. Also, do come off like you have experience and you've worked with other wholesale suppliers before. Even if you haven't, okay? It's totally fine, but you obviously want to come off and convey that. And everything that you're learning pretty much here is going to help you do that, okay? Now, don't constantly just purchase the minimum quantity and expect them to want to keep your account open long term. Eventually, if you constantly just keep purchasing little quantities, they're going to reassess whether or not they want to keep your account open. Also, don't act like a complete newbie, right? You don't want to come off and there's many ways to communicate this that you don't really know what you're doing. But if you follow what you're learning in this module, especially these later lectures where it's like, hey, how can you come off like and get approved by wholesale suppliers and how can you kind of convey these messages? You'll be fine, right? And a little bit of trial and error will help. That's totally fine as well. But obviously, you don't want to come off like a complete newbie because they're not looking to teach you how to do this, right? They want you to already know how. They want to do business with business owners that know how to do this, right? So even if you are, that's totally fine. Everybody obviously starts with 0 suppliers at first. Instead, though, use the lessons in this module to communicate with assertiveness and confidence. Also, don't come off needy. Remember that you're also interviewing them, right? You don't, like, in a way, you're kind of interviewing them, and this is kind of a testing phase for them. You're also seeing if they're a good fit for you as well, right? So don't come off needy. Don't give all the power away to them. at the end of the day, like if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And there's a million other suppliers in the world that you can go out, not a million, obviously, but figure of speech. There's a lot of other fish in the sea, basically, which ties me into the last which is don't assume every supplier has profitable inventory as well. A lot of them will, but a lot of them won't, right? And you don't have to force it. If it's not a good fit, or if a supplier that you're talking with does not have inventory that's profitable for you, walk away. That's okay? Obviously, you want to be kind about it. Say maybe you're not in a good position right now, or you're not looking to purchase any of their inventory, or even convey that, it doesn't fit any of your metrics. And, I'm going to go over that obviously in the very next lecture on, my wholesale winning formula. So if you communicate that winning formula to them ahead of time and what you're looking for, not only will you set the expectation of like, hey, if they don't have any of these products that fit your wholesale winning formula, you're not going to say that's your winning formula, right? But if they don't have any of any specific products in their SKU list that fit those parameters, well, then obviously it's not a good fit for you, right? And that gives you the power position, but also it sets the expectation, and it also might allow them to then come back and say, okay, what can we do to make this work, right? Can we potentially discount something? Can we potentially bundle something? Can we potentially, mitigate shipping for this order, right? Because then they're going to come from, trying to prove themselves to you and set up a business relationship with you instead of vice versa, and seeing like, what can you do for them, right? And obviously, even if they don't have profitable products, you don't want to burn that bridge. So you still want to be kind about it, if you don't buy right then, because they always might in the future, things change, okay? And there are plenty of fish in the sea if you don't buy profitable inventory, or if a supplier doesn't have profitable inventory. So you don't have to force it if the margins are very, very tight or not profitable. I've literally given you a list of 10,000 wholesale distributors, and that's obviously in its own module. You're watching the wholesale module here, but the other module, it's literally labeled in Resale University, 10,000 wholesale distributors. You're getting 10,000 plus, and there's like another 150 to 200 in this module specifically here in the list in the beginning. So you have more than enough suppliers to find profitable inventory. Do not force it with one that obviously is not a good fit. So those are some things to keep in mind when getting accepted to wholesale suppliers, and they're really going to help you obviously communicate more confidently, come off like you're an experienced seller, and build better relationships so you can get accepted faster.